Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Unfiltered Tea. Happy Sunday. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing well. I hope that you have not had to deal with the time change the way it has affected me. Um, that was, oh, this time change, this go round was painful. Most of the folks I've talked to, it hurt. This round hurt. Um, all right. We are here. I'm going to roll the intro in a minute. Let me know if I'm too loud. I have new headphones for all of this, and I'm still getting used to them. And don't mind me. I was just finishing up some notes. I made notes. Guys, I made notes. It's almost like I'm doing this regularly or something. And I was catching up on those, and then I realized it was showtime. I should be here. So, welcome. Thank you, Daddy. Dad says it sounds good, so I am good. I'm just getting used to things. So tonight, it seems from what I was seeing, that we are all invested in this Karen Ray trial. And I have not only in the house, but there are some other folks that I've been talking to that are like, no, you got me invested. Now I want to know everything. So guess what we're going to do for the next few weeks? Because it is coming up. So am I going to leave the headlines behind? No, I'm not. We're just going to do them on the front end and get them out of the way, and go from there. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to say welcome. Let me know where you're coming in from, what you're sipping on this evening, how your week was, and then I'm just going to roll the intro and we're going to get right into it. So, except I need to find that. Am I prepared for that? No. Did I hit the right button? Also, no. There's the intro. Let's go. Hello and welcome to The Unfiltered Tea, a show where we say all the things you wish the newscasters said, unscripted and unfiltered. We talk about politics, pop culture, and courts, so pull up your soapbox, pour yourself a cuppa, and let's go. Let's go. All right, so, oh, pardon me, should have muted that. My apologies. So we are going to do a very quick rundown of the headlines that have caused me to pay attention to them this week. There's too much. I feel like Chicken Little, Every time I turn around, there's some headline that 5 years ago would have been, I would have assumed was Borowitz Report or The Onion. And now I'm like, oh, of course that's the New York Times. So we are going to start with that, and because sometimes I have fun in the building of these things, we're going to run a brand new bumper. It's not super new, but I don't know how many of us have seen it. So we're going to run that, and we're going to do the headline breakdown, and then get into Karen Ray trial stuff. My apologies to literally everyone. I didn't check the sound balance on that. If you had animals laying near you, I'm sorry, because you might have just scared them. I might have just scared them. Apologies. Okay. I have my notes. So, the stock market is falling like crazy, which is so much fun. So that's happening. Let's see. There was the kidnapping of Mahmoud Khalil, who is currently being held in Louisiana because apparently there was some case in Trump's first term where when they sent them to New York, the court was like, yeah, nah, bro. And he didn't want that to happen again. So that's happening. I've heard of a couple of other cases, but I haven't had enough time to do any sort of a deep dive on that. Is it alarming? Yeah. Yeah, it's alarming. Somebody who has a green card, who is a citizen, that's not, this is, alarm bells, mayday, mayday, things are bad. I will keep an eye on that because I, I know, I'm going to pause here and say, I know that when we get through all of that, when we get through this, when we are on the other side, things will get better. But it's gonna be, yeah, we're just swearing right out of the gate tonight. It's gonna be a shit show for a little while. So, you know, we'll move on to a more fun thing. Fun. Fun. Fun is such a relative term these days. We also, in this past week, had the president shilling cars on the White House lawn because protests are working, my friends. We are pushing back. It is working. They are very sad that they can't just step on everybody. And because Muskie was sad, the president decided to try and make him feel a little bit better by hawking his cars on the lawn. And then I saw something, a tweet, a thread, something that made me giggle, which is they tried so hard to own the libs that they have now circled back around to being pro electric vehicle. And I think we should just utilize that to our advantage. I think for the things that we care about, we should see what we can do to get them sad in all the right places so that they actually start fixing things and thinking that, we don't want the things fixed. Just a thought. What else do we have? Oh, the measles is wreaking havoc on Texas. And at some point in the last few weeks, I saw a headline about a dysentery outbreak out on the West Coast. And all I could think was, well, some of us played Oregon Trail a lot when we were kids, and we've been apparently training for this forever. So that. Um, and yeah, that is the quick bits headline. I'm not going to do too much of a deep dive into them this evening because I know a lot of folks are more interested in my thoughts on the court cases. But, I'm keeping up on the headlines. If you see a headline you want me to cover next week, on Sunday, drop it in the comments, drop it in the chat, let me know. But before we veer off from, the state of the world as it is. Oh, also, I will timestamp. It usually takes me about a week or so to get timestamps done, but if you want to skip the headlines bit, that's fine. Timestamps will show up down below. Just give me like a week or so because, job, life, dog, things happen. Okay. Before we ship up to Boston, I did find a fun little video that happened at a Dropkick Murphys concert recently. Now, for those of you who are in the New England area or are maybe just Dropkick Murphys fans, you know where shipping up to Boston and my title for that comes from. Oh dear. One moment. One moment. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I apparently was choking on air for a minute. So let me pull up this Dropkick Murphys bit because they made a wager with a fan. I strongly encourage, I didn't do that. Later at some point, I'm going to link this down below so that you can go find it yourself. But they made a wager with a fan. And before we ship up to Boston, let's go ahead and watch this fun little bit, shall we?
Where the fuck are all the other punk bands? The reason we speak out, we don't care if we lose fans, because when history's said and done, we want it known that Dropkick Murphy stood with the people, we stood with the workers.
Yeah, it's our guys.
And it's all a fucking scam, guys. Okay, I want to propose in the name of decency and fairness, sir. I'd like to propose a friendly wager. You can't lose this wager. Would you, in the name of dialogue and discourse, and I appreciate being here,
this.
would you agree to a friendly wager? He says sure. That's a good sport. Well, first of all, do you support American workers? Of course you do. Of course you do. Okay. So, and you support American businesses, obviously. Okay. So, I don't know if you guys are aware, because we don't go around fucking bragging about it, but Dropkick Murphys always sells proudly made in America merchandise only.
Love it.
And here's the bet I'd like to make. If you lose the bet, we switch shirts, okay? If you win the bet, I give you $100 and the shirts, right? That's why I said you can't lose, right?
I missed $100.
All right, Matt, can we get a little drum roll, please? This is fucking high drama here. American made, sir. Could you both turn backwards? Don't worry, no one's gonna. He just needs to check your tags on your shirt and your hat. Just need to see where they're made. No. The MAGA shirt. Let's see where that's made. It's made in Nicaragua!
Oh my goodness.
He is a good sport. He's taking the shirt off. We're taking crime off the streets. God bless
this is why we love
heart. That's a good sport.
Sometimes.
You get one proudly made in America Dropkick Murphy shirt.
All right. I'm going to pause that there because that's just lovely. So now, with that, I am going to swoop and we are going to... Oh, make that go away. Make me bigger. All right, there we go. Oh, my hair. Sorry. It's fake spring in New England at the moment, and so I apparently don't know how to dress at the moment. So, what we are going to do is I'm going to close that out, and we are going to do... I have no idea what the volume on this is. Tonight is just... Guys, Mercury is in the microwave. There was a lunar eclipse. Everything is weird. We're just guessing tonight. That's what we're doing. We're just guessing at everything. So I have no idea how long this is, how loud words, I can say them, how loud this is going to be. So if you have pets nearby, just brace yourselves. That was normal and reasonable. Great. Okay, so, Karen Reed, I gotta find my notes. Because I need to stay on... That's not my notes. I need to stay on topic, guys. I need to try to keep the squirrels to a minimum today. So here's where we're at. Let's see. For everybody new joining me, I followed the entire first Karen Reed trial. Gavelly gavel. Pardon me. You know what? We're just doing this again because my shirt, my in-ears, everything is a problem. There we go. I'm telling you, spring in New England. The TLDR of the Karen Reed trial. I have asked my folks who are in the chat and who are currently my mods to keep me on track because I might forget stuff. I probably will. We went through, because I have gotten them invested, which I'm very proud of, because most of the time they just have to listen to me, and now they have to listen to me, but now they're actually interested on some of this. So, okay, trial number 1. The notes that I have made for this are, first, I am not an attorney. I have linked all of my favorite attorney commentators in the description of the show notes below. I have done this because I watch all of them with all the different things with the Karen Read trial. I do this because, well, I'm fascinated. Story time. Story time, guys. I have been fascinated with how our courts work since middle school, when one of my history teachers had us watch the O.J. Simpson trial, gavel to gavel, to explain the court system to us. One, I thought it was brilliant teaching, and two, it led to a full lifetime of being fascinated by the court system and what goes on in the court system and all of that. Then we get a trial like the Karen Read trial, where in opening statements of trial number 1, the defense gets up and says, Karen Read was framed. That's a hell of an opening statement. And most folks that I know met that with, really? You sure about that? And I was like, well, if you're going to make a claim like that, you better bring the receipts, which they have done as a general rule. So, wow, I just read a note and got all out of my head. It happened. So in trial number 1, it felt in a lot of ways like it was 97 years long, and that's for us watching it, never mind anybody involved in it. What did we learn? We learned it was snowing. By the way, it was snowing. By the way, did you know it was snowing? We learned that everybody somehow went out for drinks in the middle of a blizzard. Everybody that testified that was out that evening seems to have been drinking and driving. Let's see. There were high top tables. I now have like a visceral reaction every time I hear what if any, because apparently Lally didn't have any other way of asking a question other than what if any. I'm telling you, between the Depp Heard trial and that, I hear it and my entire body goes. Argh. So, and then we have this whole cast of characters, right? We have the police officers. We had a great My Cousin Vinny moment. My Cousin Vinny was actually referenced by one of the first responders on the stand because his accent was so thick, Attorney Alan Jackson didn't understand him. It was perfection. It was one of those moments that just lightens everything up and is kind of fun. So tonight, I do have, police officer Michael Proctor is still listed on the witness list, and his personal cell phone got taken by the FBI when the FBI started investigating the investigation, because that's a sign of a good investigation when the FBI is like, something seems sus here. We're going to want to take a closer look at this. Yeah. So buffering in real time. I am buffering in real time. So yeah, we have Michael Proctor's statement because he said some very, very bad things in group chats to friends, colleagues, supervisors, amongst them calling the defendant to see you next Tuesday. If you didn't pick up on that, YouTube hates the actual words, so I'll just say the letter, the first letter, and you can spell that out on your own. Not a good look if you are the lead investigator on a case and you're calling the defendant that just after you've clearly already decided that they are guilty because that's just a terrible investigation. We did learn in trial number 1 that the investigation was so bad that I spent half of that trial, Mom and Dad can vouch for this, going, watch more television, even on Law and Order, which is objectively the worst show for realism. They do a better investigation than these guys did. Just objectively, it was a terrible investigation. Then you get, let's see, District Attorney Morrissey is in there. We are going to go look at what the internet is calling the hostage video. We're going to look at that tonight. And when we do that, I have to say, if you want a lawyer's head if you want to watch a lawyer just buffer in real time and go, huh? Show them the Morrissey video and then tell them that this was all prior to trial number 1. It's not okay. It's not the sort of thing that the district attorney should ever be putting out. Let's see, what else? And then we will get into some other things. I will give you my description of where we are at for the week coming up, and we will come up with our plan. I am going to try to keep this short, but, we know that you're here with me for probably at least an hour, and as we get into trial and doing recaps, make sure you have your snacks, make sure you have your beverages, because I can't guarantee that I am going to be as efficient as Peter Tragos. We might get chatty as we get there. Confirming, Dad confirming we didn't hear much ranting about the investigation. I was salty about it. I'm still salty about it, and you guys, as you join me on this ride, are probably gonna hear a lot of it too. So, where do we want to start? Let us go all the way back in time and let's watch DA Morrissey's video. That the internet calls it a hostage video, but let us go back in time and take a look at that. Shall we? Let's see. No, full screen. No, that one. Make me smaller. We can make me smaller. We can unsmallen me. Okay. All right, Morrissey. Have I seen this a bunch of times? I have. Welcome. Welcome on this ride.
This will be the first statement of its kind in my dozen years as Norfolk District Attorney. The harassment of witnesses in the murder prosecution of Karen Reed is absolutely baseless.
Okay, I'm going to pause him right away because this is in response to, in theory, harassment of witnesses. The claims all are coming from the Alberts, the McCabe's, folks who are very convinced that Karen Reed is guilty. So just take that for whatever you will.
It should be an outrage to any decent person, and it needs to stop. Innuendo is not evidence. False narratives are not evidence. However, what evidence does show is that John O'Keefe never entered the home at 34 Fairview Road in Canton the night he died.
That's because there wasn't an investigation into whether or not he did actually go into the house. It was just assumed he didn't. Fun fact from everything I've watched about this video so far from attorneys is that this is already in things you're not supposed to say if you're a district attorney before a trial.
Location data from his phone, recovered from the lawn beneath his body when he was transported to the hospital, shows that this phone did not enter that home. 11 people have given statements that they did not see John O'Keefe enter the home at 34 Fairview that night. 0 people have said that they saw him enter the home. 0. No one.
Fun fact. These are facts to be determined by the jury.
Some have, without any evidence, pointed to 18-year-old Colin Albert, a nephew of the homeowner, and accused him of attacking John O'Keefe as he entered the home. But phone evidence shows O'Keefe never entered the home at all. Testimony from witnesses tell us that 18-year-old Colin Albert had left his uncle's home before John O'Keefe and Karen Reed had arrived outside the residence. There was no fight inside that home. John O'Keefe did not enter the home.
The jury gets to decide if this is evidence. Jury. This goes to the jury. The jury is the finder of fact.
Colin Albert, the young man being vilified, was not present when Reed's vehicle and John O'Keefe arrived on the street. This is a false narrative. Colin Albert didn't commit murder. Jennifer McCabe, Matthew McCabe, and Brian Albert. These people were not part of a conspiracy and certainly did not commit murder or any crime that night. They have been forthcoming with authority, providing statements, and have not engaged in any cover-up. They are not suspects in any crime. They are merely witnesses in the case. To have them accused of murder is outrageous. To have them harassed and intimidated based on false narratives and accusations is wrong. They are witnesses doing what our justice system asks of them.
If your police had done an investigation, like an actual one, we might have more facts that would back this up or refute it. This was issued, by the way, before they chose the jury for trial number 1.
The autopsy of John O'Keefe was conducted by a forensic pathologist from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. The doctor found that the injuries that left John helpless in the cold were not a result of a fight. She further found that the line of abrasions on his arm was consistent with blunt trauma, not an animal attack.
That goes to the jury.
A grand jury of everyday citizens heard the documented evidence and testimony before making a decision. The subject of that murder indictment enjoys the constitutional presumption of innocence.
Correct. Innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, which is exactly why the district attorney shouldn't preview a trial by saying our facts are the facts that matter.
Why should the witnesses who have committed no crime be afforded less by members of the community? They should not be harassed for telling the government what they heard or saw. I'm asking the Canton community and everyone who feels invested in this case to hear all the actual evidence at trial before assigning guilt to people who have done nothing wrong. And certainly before taking it upon yourself to harass citizens who evidence shows have done nothing in this matter but come forward and bear witness. We try people in the court and not on the internet for a reason. The internet has no...
Then why are you on the internet doing a video like this? We're back in time. We got in the Wayback Machine.
No rules of evidence. The internet has no punishment for perjury. And the internet does not know all the facts.
I don't know, dude.
Conspiracy theories are not evidence.
The internet actually has done a really good job of digging up a whole lot of facts and making your team turn over things that they didn't before.
The idea that multiple police department, EMTs, fire personnel, the medical examiner, and prosecuting agencies are joined in or taken in by a vast conspiracy should be seen for what it is, completely contrary to the evidence and a desperate attempt to reassign guilt. Michael Proctor, the state police trooper, being accused of planting evidence outside 34 Fairview Road, was never at Fairview Road on the day of the incident. Proctor and his state police partner traveled together the entire day while other officers were processing 34 Fairview. Trooper Proctor was not there and did not plant evidence at 34 Fairview Road.
I can't help it. Methinks the DA doth protest too much.
In addition to having no opportunity to plant the evidence, as has been suggested, Proctor would have no motive to do so. Trooper Proctor had no close personal relationship with any of the parties involved in the investigation and had no conflict. And he had no reason to step out of this investigation. Every suggestion to the contrary is a lie. This should be seen for what it is and not used as a pretext to attack and harass others. What is happening to the witnesses, some with no actual involvement in the case, is wrong. It is contrary to the American values of fairness and the constitutional value of a fair trial. It needs to stop now.
The Commonwealth seems to think that they get a fair trial and the defendant doesn't, but that's not actually how the laws are set up at all. And they just seem to forget that part.
I'm releasing this recorded statement rather than holding a news conference because my remarks need to be so narrowly tailored to the issue at hand while the prosecution is pending in Superior Court. But the message is the same. What is happening to these innocent people, these witnesses, is wrong and it needs to stop.
So, that was, and big in me. So that was before trial number 1. It was a pre-recorded statement and not a news conference because then there would be questions and questions could get tricky, especially since you already said a bunch of stuff that the attorneys seem to be real cranky that this came out before trial number 1. Like real cranky. The ones that I follow. Like very, very cranky. Because this is not how it's supposed to be. And yeah. So if you want to watch a lawyer like just get very confused and probably very cranky, show them this 5-minute video. And now we're back into the defense is trying to taint the jury pool and try this on the internet. Which is funny because these same cast of characters keep putting out statements. So, let me swoop and then let's take a look at Trooper Proctor's statement. I'm not going to pretend that I think Trooper Proctor is a good dude because he's given me zero reason to think he is honest, up front, or even a particularly great police officer from what I have seen in this trial. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, let's look at the statement here. If I can get it. There it is. All right. So, this is the... Okay. This is the Proctor family's full press release in its original formatting. So, as I go down through with the formatting here, I'm going to warn you. If you like things to make sense formatting-wise, yeah, you're going to have a tough time with this one. So, we will read through this. In light of the egregiously false statements from Karen Reed and her defense team, both inside and outside the courtroom, Michael Proctor's family is speaking out for the first time. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get sassy in my tone. I apologize ahead of time. It's gonna happen. To address the ongoing misrepresentations of his character and calling for the public to actually look at the facts of this case. me, Aurora, speaking. I am the public, and I am looking at the facts of the case that are coming into court, and the defense keeps bringing the receipts, and the prosecution keeps seeming like they're hiding the ball. So I think we are looking at the facts of the case, and the facts of the case aren't great for Proctor, who is, by the way, still under investigation. They are stringing that along. I don't know why, but they are. On January 29th, 2022, I'm back to reading, 14 minutes before his on-call shift was due to end, Michael Proctor was assigned to an unattended death case, and his life was forever changed. I feel like his life was forever changed. Of all of the people whose lives were forever changed that night, Proctor's doesn't rise in the hierarchy. He's not toward the top of the list. Proctor and other investigators followed the evidence. Okay. And a jury of the defendant's peers indicted Reed, and only Reed, for the murder of Officer John O'Keefe. Despite this, the family says Michael Proctor has been defamed, maligned, and falsely labeled corrupt by the alleged murderer, her family, her defense team, and a mob of her followers. Through unrelenting propaganda and disinformation, the defense is trying this case in the court of public opinion and painting Karen Reed as the victim with the hope of tainting a jury pool. The people being the loudest aren't the defense team. And they're being loud, don't get me wrong, but yeah. At the end of the day, a beloved police officer and an honorable man was killed. The prosecution believes it is an open and shut case, and the defense knows this too. So their tactic is to put my husband, the lead investigator, on trial for sending texts on his personal phone to his friends and family, said Proctor's wife, Elizabeth Proctor. The Karen Reed defense team is unabashedly creating false narratives and distracting the public and potential jurors from clear-cut evidence. Ma'am. Michael Proctor seems to have touched every piece of evidence that has come into this trial. There are pieces of evidence still coming in, and that's a problem. And he's the one who decided if it would come in or not. So a lot of this is, how to put this? He made choices, and choices have consequences. And he's dealing with a lot of the consequences for his choices. Back to reading. It was recently announced that all aspects of the federal investigation involving this case has been closed. That is a terrible sentence. You should have proofread that. Michael Proctor, who has an unblemished police record in his 12 years, I don't know if we can say that if he's still under investigation and on unpaid administrative leave. But okay, I understand she wants to defend her husband. Testified that the texts on his personal cell phone were unprofessional and regrettable, but certainly didn't affect the integrity of the investigation. I watched the first trial. I strongly disagree with you, ma'am. Quote, Michael and so many others in his line of work see horrible things every day and may at times need to vent personally. Fair. He saw a fellow officer die a horrible, tragic death. Also fair. Who among us has not said something regrettable in moments of stress, shock, or sadness? Fair. What he said wasn't that. And how would you feel if the contents of your personal phone were questionably released to the public without full context? Uh, you did you okay? Said Courtney Proctor, Proctor's sister. Uh, it, if you're really involved in a case and the case is messy, expect to have your phone downloaded for forensic files so that people can see what you said. I mean, half the folks in this investigation destroyed or rehomed their phones right before other investigators got their paws on them. So, Okay, moving on. Proctor's wife says the family has been tormented for years because of the case, and it's time to focus on the real perpetrator. I would like to know who that is, because so far the evidence hasn't proven that it's Karen. Unfortunately, we know that by speaking out, more harassment will be unleashed on our family, but we can no longer stand by and silently watch Michael's character be attacked and disparaged so unfairly. After exhaustive investigations at both the state and federal level and a grand jury, only one person has been charged with a crime, the defendant, Karen Reed. Well, it seems to me like the evidence that was presented at the grand jury was picked by the same folks that the defense is bringing into a possible third party situation. So that I got through that pretty well. It helps that I've watched it like 5 different times and watched everybody else tear this to the formatting is just painful. So that's a thing that happened. Let me get rid of that. Okay. Buffering. I'm buffering. I'm going to swoop as we move on to the next thing. No, swoop. No, swoop. Swoop. There we go. Okay. Where am I at? Where's my notes? I need my notes. Notes. That's not my notes. Streaming is dynamic. And I keep coming up. Okay. Oh, motions and lemonade. Or motions and lemonade as the closed captioning calls them, which means it's just filtered through and it's like mercury in the microwave. It's just what we say now because motions and lemonade is fun to say and it's entertaining. So, okay. I watch a lot of court, so I understand what motions and lemonade are, but I also understand that a lot of you guys that are finding me don't watch as much court. And so what has been going back and forth in this last week is the defense and the Commonwealth are fast and furious dropping motions for the judge to decide on because we are currently at the point in time of deciding what evidence comes in, what witnesses are allowed to testify for what, and that's where we're at. So Commonwealth is dropping motions, defense is dropping motions, Commonwealth is responding to defense motions, defense is responding to them. Can I spell motions in limine? Limine, I believe, is LIMINE. I think. I'm going to put it in the chat. No spelling. I think. Nope. Except for the fact that I missed and I put an A instead of that, but yeah, I think this is it. I think this is it. Don't quote me on that. I just handle bills for attorneys. I don't write their motions at all. They don't want me writing their motions. I would be way too snarky. Oh my goodness. Hey, I did get it right. There we go. I would be way too snarky. This is what I do math for attorneys. I don't do writing for them cuz I would judges would end up hating me and then I would have to go back to billing. So um yeah. So as you head into trial, everybody goes back and forth and there's a lot of argument of we want this in, we want this in. Why? Because the jury is only allowed to see what gets decided on ahead of time. Some things appear mid trial and things like that, and then you deal with it then. But for the most part, the goal is to go back and forth on witnesses, evidence, all of that, so that everybody can be on the same page for what's coming in and what is not coming in. It also makes trial life easier because I think it helps with numbering exhibits and stuff like that, right? So, that's where we're at right now. So this is where it makes it kind of weird if you're like me and you're watching a trial on the internet, right? Because the internet is always going to internet, which means there's 50 sleuths out there finding evidence that is never going to come into the jury, right? We saw this a lot during the Depp Heard trial where the internet was finding 47 things, but that's never going to come in. The jury's never going to see that. And it might change how we feel about the situation because we have that evidence, but the jury's not going to see that evidence. So we have to keep in mind when we're watching trials that when that trial starts, you have to take the opinion and what you would do if you were on the jury from what evidence and testimony and all of that comes into court. And all of that is decided on now. Part of the reason that I am following this and all the outside stuff this time is because last time was so freaking wild and so many things came out that this time I am tracking what is coming in, what is staying out, who's winning which argument. Oh, that for the pedantics here. I checked one motion in limine, many motions in limine. So I said that different both times. I didn't mean to. Mercury, microwave. Words are hard sometimes. So that's what we are looking at. So that is why, if you've been following this on the internet like I have, every attorney has done like 4-hour streams because there's a million motions in limine dropping right now. And everybody is going back and forth. And now we're also looking at the witness list. So, did I get the witness list? I think I got the witness list. I feel, how long have we been here? 48 minutes? I feel like we're not going to go through the witness list. We can go through this a little bit later. The Commonwealth, again, has like, I think it's, well, let's look at the number here. The Commonwealth has listed out 86 potential witnesses. 86. That's what they had the last time. Now, there are some witnesses that their entire function is to get on the stand and say, yes, I'm the keeper of records. Yes, this is what we expect. Yes, that's real. Yes, I handed it over. And that's like, we forget them, right? And then we also have witnesses like the biomechanical engineers from ARCA and Dr. Russell. And I mean, right now we have this new dog behavior expert that if you want me to pull up his website one day and we can take a look and see if it makes any sense for him to testify to what he's. The judge said he could testify, but the defense did drop a motion saying, Judge, can you review that? Because current you is at odds with past you, and that's not a normal judge thing, so maybe you want to go back and double check your old order. Double check with past you and see if you changed your mind for a reason. And we have some other folks that are on here, and the internet is having a field day trying to figure out why folks like Aiden Carney, aka Turtle Boy, who is also a YouTuber, go through. Oh, Dad, you're gonna have to be more specific because words are hard, and that thought probably got away from me. So you're gonna have to be a little more specific. As to what we're asking what for, because I don't know. Oh, streaming is time. Okay, I gotta run this because it just happened. I just had a squirrel moment. Sorry, I just learned how to do something on my end that I've been wondering how to do, and I got totally distracted. Okay, witness list. I'm looking at it here. Here, I'll pull it up so that you guys can see it. We can take a look at it. But unless you are a total nerd like myself, I'm gonna wager you don't care that much, and we will deal with this a little bit better down the road. Okay, share. No, put me over here. There we go. Okay, so this is the Commonwealth's witness list. Yeah, 603. This is the current Commonwealth's witness list. Let's see. Civilian witnesses. We have all the Alberts, which is the house. They were the people who owned the house that John O'Keefe was found in front of. So we've got that. And you see Bernstein Stephen, keeper of record. Yeah, he's going to be one of those witnesses that appears and says, yeah, I've got this. This is how we got this. This is normal. It happens for phones, Cellbrite data, that kind of thing. Metadata, that kind of thing. Bank records, that's another one where a keeper of records, somebody will come in and go, yeah, this is how we keep the records. Let's see. Some of these guys were at the waterfall, some others I don't remember. I hate that they're calling his niece and nephew again. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Hate it. Hate it. How do you really feel, Aurora? I hate it. They have been through enough. They've been through more than enough. Don't put them through that. Why? What's the point? I don't think there is a point. Aiden Carney is the new one. Now, why is the internet focused on that? Because, I will embiggen myself, because there is a sequestration order for witnesses. And that means that if you are on the witness list, guess what you don't get to watch? All of trial, with the few exceptions of the family. Because that's a little bit different, but for the most part, family and law enforcement experts, there are some different rules there, but for the most part, if you are on the witness list, you don't get to watch the trial. And so when you have somebody like Aiden Carney, who is on YouTube and is reporting on the trial, throwing him on the witness list could potentially keep him from watching court. The internet has 5 million thoughts on this. I don't particularly at the moment. I'm going to watch how the arguments play out this week. But folks have thoughts. Folks have thoughts. So who else do we have? The O'Keefes. Pardon me. Nathan and William Reed. So that's Karen's family. They're new on this list. Let's see. Gretchen Voss, who is a reporter. We have Canton Fire Department. State Police. A lot of these guys is going to be. So this is. They don't have to call everybody on the witness list, but this is the witness list. So, now that we are here, let me swoop, and then let me recap, and then let's look at what we're looking at for the week going forward, because we're going back to court this week. That is what is happening. Swoop, swoop. Okay, so if I have my scheduling correct, on Tuesday, everybody's going to be back in court in front of Judge Cannone to have oral arguments about all of the motions in limine. This is where, now, is the judge going to rule from the bench? This judge? No. No, we're going to have to wait. Which means trying to find more documents, which is a fun game. I hate that game. Mass courts make it real difficult to get these because you can only get them if you go in person or can find them from somebody who's gone in person on the internet. Super annoying. But on Tuesday, everybody's going to be in court. They are going to be arguing their motions. It's based on everything we've seen so far. Let's be real. It is gonna be fiery, probably from the very first hello. So, what does that mean for us? Because we have decided that we are covering this gavel to gavel, it means that I am going to do another stream. When? I do not know. Keep a lookout on my socials. Keep a lookout on this page here, because I will put up a post when I decide. Tuesday, the day of, is probably out completely for me. Why? One, work. It's gonna be a very long day for me, work-wise. And two, I'm gonna need a little bit of time to process before I can give you my thoughts and get timestamps and all of that. Which means I'm going to want to watch every lawyer that I follow on YouTube. So that's going to take me a little bit of time. And so I expect Wednesday or Thursday, because it looks like they are only in court on Tuesday. If that changes, I will adjust. And then on Sunday, we will gather together to chat about everything. I'm definitely going to be back on Sunday. I'm going to probably do something Wednesday or Thursday after I have processed a bit of the information. But we also know that life is unpredictable. So that is the game plan for now. While you are here, if you have enjoyed this so far, do all the YouTube-y things, do the liking and the subscribing. If you're happy hanging here, yeah, like, subscribe, do all this stuff. It's gonna be a month plus of court because they do voir dire of the jury starting seemingly April 1st, which means we have a couple more court days and then we go to court. And then we will gather, and there's going to be a lot of streams because with this trial, if you get a day behind, it's going to be something. So get ready to join me for this adventure that we are going to be on. This is my nearing the end of stream reminder to you that I am not an attorney. I am law adjacent, but I am not an attorney. So what you are getting from me is a more juror type point of view, with a lot of snark and a lot of swear words, because I like them. A well-placed expletive is one of my favorite things. So welcome, welcome. Yeah, I think that's it for. I kept it just within 1 hour. That was a challenge. We shall see. We go to court on Tuesday. I will be back after that, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere in there that week. I've said that already. I apologize. I am going to wind down, remind everybody, if you've got headlines, things like that, drop them in the comments, drop them in my chat, and we will run through headlines and the big news at the start of these things and then dive into trial. Be well, do good, and remember, bark a lot. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of The Unfiltered Tea. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you have a story you want our unfiltered take on, go ahead and drop it in the comments, and we will see you next time.